everybody to the Ohio Business Spotlight, where you guys know that my partner Tony Miltenberger, who is traveling today, is not able to join us. You guys know that this show is sponsored by Follow to Lead Executive Coaching. I would not dare try to do what I do in my insurance agency with my team without Tony's guidance and mentorship. And I suggest that you do the exact same because he is good at what he does. And this episode right here, if you followed us at all, you know that both Tony and I are both proud veterans of the United States Army. Tony has since changed his allegiance to Navy, which should be a mortal sin, but I understand his position because he has a son at the Naval Academy. But regardless, we are both hugely passionate about veterans. Veterans that have been willing to serve and first responders, because this program really speaks to specifically first responders and veterans, and you know our passion for those that put on that uniform and make the sacrifices that they make for their family, and not just for their family, but for us. So I'm going to introduce our guest today. He reached out to me. I had a chance to see him on a Cincinnati TV clip, and I was very impressed. And shortly after that, his mom reached out to me. Yes, I mentioned your mom, Evan. You'll be able to tell her that Renee Beerck got some love in this right here.
Absolutely.
But I'm going to introduce Evan Beerck here, and I'm going to read a short bio, and that's going to be super easy because he made it short. Evan has 3 years with eTMS. He actually started as a patient. Then he became a technician. Now he is running the entire state of Ohio. He's overseeing all of the community outreach, recruiting, and peer mentorship. We're going to get into what you do for eTMS, Evan, but first I want to tell you, welcome to our podcast.
Well, Greg, again, thank you so much for having me. This is a great honor. Again, thank you to my mom for also helping out with that as well. Big shout out to her. But I just, again, with that, I love this program more than anything because I know how much it has helped me personally. So starting off as a patient, but what this program is, this is a state-funded organization paid through by the state of Ohio, and we help veterans, first responders, and law enforcement get better sleep, lower anxiety, depression, and lower PTSD symptoms. Uh, I've got to go around throughout the state of Ohio and open up clinics all the way from Cleveland, Ohio, down to Cincinnati, Ohio, but I'm based out of here in Centerville. And we get to meet fantastic individuals every day, from the lowest moments that you can imagine to some guys who just finally admit, I don't sleep well. And so being able to be a part of this and see the growth that it has had, just in Ohio alone, the past 6 years, 6-ish years, we've treated over 3,500 patients. Um, yes, and so continuing to grow that, we're actually starting our next contract here, July 1. So we reboot and can start all over again. So it's a fantastic opportunity. I love to get the word out on.
Well, I tell you, as soon as when we got on the phone call, I was prepared for about a 5 minute phone call, but I drug you out, I think, 20 minutes because I was fascinated with the work that you are doing for the people. And I just don't share that sentiment really isn't individual to me, especially with us celebrating America 250 right now this year, 4th of July coming up. I know that there is a ton of Tony and I's audience
Mhm.
that is passionate about veterans and passionate about law enforcement, first responders. And when I heard all of the things that you guys are doing, I couldn't stop thinking about it. I started promoting this way earlier than what I normally promote a podcast because this is so very near and dear to my heart. So let's break this up. Let's break this up here and let's talk about this in chunks.
Yeah.
Tell me first, if you can, how would you describe the person that can most benefit from the service that you provide? Let's clearly define that. Go.
So clearly defining that is anyone and everyone I think will benefit from this. That is not a certain individual who cannot get any types of benefits if it's from better sleep, cognitive benefits, but the ones that I really want to focus on are the ones that are suffering in silence. That is a big issue that we see where, speaking on behalf of myself, of acting like everything is fine when in reality, dealing with the inner demons and the inner dialogue of things can weigh very heavy. And so, with this, if you have served as a veteran or have a DD 214, we here at eTMS can take you. If you are retired or an active first responder, so law enforcement, as long as you carry a gun and have the ability to arrest, first responders, firefighters, paramedics, EMT, as long as you have a EMT certification, you qualify, and dispatch as well, because we know a lot of the dispatchers hear a lot of terrible calls day in and day out. So if you
Wow.
think that you need better sleep, we should be your first call.
That is broad. I was just reading that over as you were saying, and you mentioned everything from police officers, firefighters, veterans, and EMTs. And I love that you include dispatch. And you kind of gave me some bullet points when we got started, because your mom probably told you that my mind goes a million directions at one time. So you kept it very simple for me, and I appreciate it. I want to talk about these four invisible weights that you outlined to me. You outlined post PTSD, chronic stress and hypervigilance, sleep disruption and emotional dysregulation, and increased risk of substance use and burnout. So when those present themselves, you're telling me from the front side of your talking about what you do, you're saying that a lot of people suffer from those things in silence.
Yes, and it's especially in these fields. And I always like to preference, I am not a first I've never been a first responder. I'm not a veteran. I was not in law enforcement. I got very lucky of knowing the owner and getting to go in as a patient for free. And so I always like to start off, I don't know what they go through, but knowing my own struggles and now seeing thousands of or hundreds to close to 1,000 patients myself of it's very hard to talk to with these in this field, and it's getting a lot better. And thankfully, a lot of the police chiefs, fire chiefs are helping their guys out and getting more services involved. But I'm still a man, and sometimes it's hard for me to ask for help, even knowing all the struggles. And when you are relied on by your community, by your family, by whoever it may be, it's really hard to ask for help. And so offering something that is non-invasive, drug-free, pain-free, and especially for this demographic, cost-free, it makes my job of selling a lot smoother.
Wow. Well, I love how you've identified because I bet you're able to draw some people out of silence when you touch on those four things right there. It probably helps them. I have to imagine, and please interject what you've experienced and from your knowledge of being in this as long as you have now. It has to help draw some people out when you can ask specific questions about what they're experiencing.
Oh, absolutely. And more than asking the questions, I always start off with just myself going through treatment. I had 3 concussions when I was very young in my freshman and sophomore year of high school. That really kind of adjusted myself, and I wasn't the same person, and I could never understand why I felt always so anxious and so stressed, and I'm very open about the depression that I felt of not knowing where I belonged ever, of going from feeling like such an outsider for so long and going and not knowing why and getting into the treatment. And I can get into this here in a little bit, but we actually map the brain and we see how different lobes of the brain work and communicate with themselves through frequency. And the doctor was able to explain better of why I felt the way I did just looking at the frequency of my own brain. And so being able to share that, and even though, again, I'm not part of that demographic, just my own feelings and my own shortcomings, a lot of people relate to that and be like, oh, I'm not alone. And so asking those questions, telling them my experience, I can, and it's very funny now doing this. Even though it's only been 3 years, it's felt like 10 with how many people we've gotten to help and how fast paced this job is. But we get to really see a lot of great progressions of I've had a gentleman call me that saying he was going to commit suicide on the Sunday. We got him in that Sunday, and a month later, he's riding his Harley, having the best time of his life, and finally feels like he's able to live again. And so, in that short amount of time, you see such a turnaround. It's so rewarding.
Well, your transparency certainly knocks down an immediate barrier that I can think that people might experience, the barrier of how do I bring up to somebody, but I just love the ways that you draw it out. I want to talk a little bit about some of the therapies that you, and again, Evan, you did an incredible job preparing me. You talked about mapping out, and you already elaborated a little bit to this, mapping out an individual's brain activity, targeting the areas disrupted by the trauma that they've experienced. And in that right there, it has helped restore healthier brain communication patterns. So that sounds really complicated. How do you make that simpler? If you say those three things to somebody, they think there's no way it's not invasive. There's no way that some kind of chemical isn't used, and their guard goes up. How do you disarm them and really dumb it down like you did for me?
Well, it's to in full transparency, I was so skeptical when I first met the CEO of our company, Joe Charles, and he told me that he was going to, in his words, map my brain, use a magnet to produce a frequency that he finds in my brain, and we're going to open up your neural pathways to get you to sleep better. I called him a snake oil salesman, and I said, I
Okay.
don't know what you're talking about, man. And now I work for the guy for the past almost 3 years now. So um, the way I like to explain it is your brain from any type of trauma, emotional trauma, physical trauma, whatever, the brain waves start to close off, and you can't see that firsthand. Like just talking between you and I, we can't tell each other's brain waves are closed off. And so what we do is we use a device called an EEG or electroencephalogram, super fancy word for it's a helmet placed on your head, and you're sitting still for 10 minutes, and we're looking for uh, we're looking at your brain frequencies, and each part of the lobe. Uh, we're looking at each part of to see if we're in what we call the happy brainwave, which is the alpha brainwave, or if it's in a different frequency. And so finding your set frequency. So Greg, your treatment, my treatment would be completely different, just based off experience, age, all these things. And so being able to have it individualized is what's great. And so the best part about this is you get these reports back, and we do an EEG at the beginning of your treatment, at the halfway point, and at the very end. So we can actually track to see what your brain looks like throughout our 20 sessions. So it's not just we're hopeful, we'll see what happens. We're actively tracking while you're going through treatment.
Well, boy, I'm just reading this right here, and this is what caught my eye originally when you originally sent me this information, but I couldn't lead with it because I wanted to be chronological in some sorts, because I have a feeling this is going to catch people's attention, and you've already kind of showed how it rears itself. What does it look like? What is a symptom, if you will?
Mhm.
And then you've already really helped someone. You sounded like you were very skeptical, so you've already kind of overcome that barrier with your transparency. And then the next step, you just talked about what you do, but these results, your outline said these results are powerful, and I wish there was a better word for powerful. I can't think of one right now, but significant reduction in PTSD symptoms, improved sleep and emotional stability, reduced anxiety, depression, and stress, and decreased cravings tied to trauma related substance abuse. Those Lord, tell me a more word, a better word than powerful, because powerful doesn't seem to capture that. Can you tell me firsthand some things that you see that are related to those four results
Absolutely.
in a patient or in your experience? I don't want
Yeah,
to put you on the spot
absolutely.
either way.
I I always share this story of the patient. He's been fantastic. He was a Vietnam veteran. He came home after Vietnam, and he was his wife's full-time caretaker until she passed. When she passed, he tried to commit suicide 8+ times, and he was always trying to overdose on some type of medication. Um, it was just it was never, just never felt like he had his life. And so when I first met this gentleman, he was 70 years old, excuse me. And he was the one who called me on a Sunday and left a voicemail because I didn't know the number. And I see it pop up of voicemail. And listen is, hey, I'm gonna blow my brains out in front of the VA. This is my last chance. I need someone to talk to me.
Oh my gosh.
Cool. Well, that Sunday afternoon, I'm at the clinic, and this is in our Centerville location. Met him at the clinic. Got to talk to him and just see how you're feeling. Talk to me. What's going on? We had our all of our staff on standby of do if this is a someone we know we always want to make sure our patient is taken care of, but when it does come to something that critical and crucial, we know we are not the end all be all. So we have all of our staff ready to go if this is something we are really concerned about and they need to be watched overnight. Thank
That's impressive. That is really. I apologize for cutting you
Yeah.
off. That's really impressive that the standby on a Sunday isn't a shell of the services and the treatment that you can provide. That is very impressive. You guys take this stuff seriously.
100%. This is it can be life or death, and we want to make sure that the people who are struggling that we know that we care, and that's why this is not your typical 9 to 5 job. As I always said, like I never thought I would work one. I never wanted to work a 9 to 5, so I work all the time instead. That's kind of how this is. And so meeting this gentleman, we got his all of his information, got him set up for the following morning to come back. Everything was good. We got him his treatments where we got his day zero, which is his baseline, where we do the EEG process, all taken care of. That was sent off to our neurology team. They created his protocol, and we got to treat him again that following Monday. He came 5 days a week for 4 weeks, where he was consistent, and on the way he explained it was very beautiful. Of He always felt like he was standing on a ledge, just ready to jump, and he was just like one step away. On the third treatment, he said, "I don't know. I feel different. I don't know what I feel, but I feel different."
Mm.
It's a. It was just. It
It's
was.
got to be rewarding at a
It
whole
is.
nother level.
It is, and so to hear him say he felt different was incredible, and the fact that he wasn't wanting to hurt himself, and then to go to day 5 or day 7, it was a couple days later, and he goes, "Hey, I feel like I'm walking down the hill," and he's like, "I don't. I'm sleeping. I'm actually sleeping. I am not just tossing and turning. I am able to have nice conversations with myself." Uh, and he's like, "It's just really, it was really weird for him because he hadn't felt that, and he was 70 years old, and he could not remember a single time of his life where he didn't feel like he was standing on that ledge." And then by day 10, he was again. We had his halfway appointment, or day 10, scheduled with our doctor. Um, Lena Grunlow, she's fantastic. She's now the doctor for our Florida clinics. Um, she was amazing with him in the way that he just got to smile and explain with himself of how great he felt. And he brought in his sister-in-law to the meeting with him, and she even got to say, "This is not the same gentleman that I've known for X amount of years. Like, this is a whole new human." And by day 20, he's riding his Harley full speed, like he's going around town just enjoying life again. And so in just such a short amount of time, it was so great to see. And so I love to share that story. And then with myself, I love to say, I was a CrossFit coach, fitness trainer, wellness coach for a long time before I ever got into this. And again, never thinking I would get into this. And so very ate clean, would go to bed early, like everything you think of as healthy,
Hmm.
I would try to do. Um, but the anxiety, that feeling that the other shoe was going to drop, the that inner dialogue of I'm not good enough, something bad's right around the corner, things along those lines were constant.
Hmm.
And just again, just assuming I've lived with that most of my life, especially my entire adult life and most of my teenage life. So I was like, this is just how it is. And going through treatment, I was starting to get into deep and REM sleep again. I would get 6 to 8 hours, but it's in that light sleep. I was never in that deep and REM sleep. And about it was like 3 to 5 days in, I called the owner's son and I said, "Hey man, I don't know what your dad's doing to me. This is like voodoo witchcraft. I haven't dreamt in 10 plus years at this point. I'm dreaming the most vivid dreams I think I ever have." And then going on a walk. I was walking the dog. It was my 13th session, and it was clear as day. Still, I was on. I'm walking up Clio, just enjoying the walk with my dog. I'm not checking my phone. I'm not worried about anything. That inner dialogue was quiet for the first time.
Hmm.
And that was weird. And I was like, this is not normal. I'm not worried about anything. My anxiety's gone. And so I called the technician at the time and I said, hey, this is what I'm feeling. He goes, yeah, that's how you're supposed to feel. And it's just been so long to go without that feeling. It was weird. And I, again, like I said in the beginning, I was very skeptical because I was just a patient. I did not work for the company at this time. And I was like, well, when is the inner dialogue, the anxiety gonna come back? Like it's gonna come back. I know it. And like a week went by, a month went by, three, and it just like kind of went
Hmm.
away. And I was like, this is really strange. And the
It's a new
fact
feeling for you.
Yeah, exactly. And so to feel that in myself, that's when I was like, I would love to work for this company because I know how much it helped me, and just always wanting to be a servant to people and like help others around me. This just seemed like a great opportunity to do so, and I'm so happy I did because I get to go to different cities and different states and meet a lot of amazing people and show this technology truly works because I always like to say if we were snake oil salesmen or if we did not prove the data that we say we do, we would not be continuously state funded in multiple states
Hmm.
now. And especially with this demographic, veterans, first responders, and law enforcement, they're a very skeptical group to begin with. And
Sure.
so if the second they think we're not who we say we are, we're not doing the things we say, we would be out of business to, like yesterday.
Hmm. Well, I tell you, continue, and again, I give you so much credit for preparing me. My show prep for this was practically nothing because you did such an incredible job. I love you said that participants they feel relief, clarity, and hope.
Mhm.
And for someone that doesn't struggle with their mental health, they might not understand that. But for someone who has struggled with their mental health, I think of a good friend of mine, Jonathan Willis, who was a firefighter, and he's more than an EMT. He's very highly certified. Goes around the country teaching a class, real world trauma. My wife Stacy and I had the
Mhm.
opportunity to take it. You could not, you could not just seeing some of the images in the class, being around that, knowing that you're responding to something that could look like that. I listened to Sean Ryan when
Mhm.
he's an advocate for veterans, talks with a lot of veterans that have had combat experience, where that tape of the combat that they saw
Mhm.
just continuously plays in the back of their mind.
Yeah.
And I just can't imagine the fact that they get relief, clarity, and then begin to experience hope. You've done a really good job of talking about how you guys, and I love the play on words here, how you guys have rewired the conversation around PTSD
Mhm.
I want to ask this question right here because I think it's really important. Why why has Ohio become a leader in this innovative program? Why is that?
So there was a senator, Senator Frank Hoagland. And he's a veteran himself. His brother's a veteran himself, both SEALs, I believe. I know his brother Rich is a SEAL. They got to experience this treatment and see what was coming on firsthand from guys around them. And my boss, Jeffrey Linquist, he actually put all of our equipment in a van and drove from San Diego, California to Ohio and trying to get this more accessible.
Hmm.
And so to start off with just it started off with, as just veterans, and thankfully the state expanded about 4 years ago, 5 years ago, around that time, expanded to first responders and law enforcement as well. But they saw that the numbers don't lie, and there's nothing out there like standard treatments. Even there's multiple types of TMS out there, and even the RTMS or the standard TMS does not seem the same results that we do with eTMS, and that's because it's individualized. And so to see the results that we're getting from um, lowering depression symptoms around 60% decrease. PTSD, I believe, is around 64% decrease. Alcohol and drug craving, alcohol specifically, is around 55% decrease in cravings. The different drugs are even high, like we've seen as high as 81% decrease in certain drugs. It's nothing else is comparing to it. And so to see the results and thankfully have, I shouldn't say thankfully, but with some of the first responders that have unfortunately see brutal and terrible things on a daily basis, and to have them have a space that they can get better. And again, that is something that is fantastic because the state pays for them to go through for once a year. And so if you do experience something in between your treatments, like we'll be able to get you back in and get you treated to make sure that you stay healthy and happy before you. And a lot of this is hopefully getting people better so when they hit that retirement age and they're just not on the force anymore, that they're not trying to start from scratch. Then throughout their entire career they have an opportunity to heal themselves.
Well, you've done a great job of explaining how this approach is different from standard care. I love how you define that right there, because I'd be willing to bet that a lot of people that have had the symptoms, if you will, of depression, PTSD, not being able to sleep well,
Mhm.
just dealing with that right there, I have to believe that so many of them have been around the block with one other type of, treatment or
Mhm.
one other type of thing that was supposed to absolutely positively provide them the relief that they so desperately seek and that they want. So I love that this one, I love that the results, they don't even come in months, they come in days. I mean, that is so incredible. I want to spend this last couple minutes here with you, Evan, and I want you to spell out as clearly as you can, as detailed as you can. There are a million ways to communicate these days.
Mhm.
There's text message, there's Facebook, there's all of these things right here. Uh, you know, uh, I want you to outline as many ways as you can that people can get to you or someone in your organization the fastest, the easiest, even if it's critical. What are the
Mhm.
best ways and the ways that they can connect with you to begin to take advantage of this incredible service?
Absolutely. So the quickest way is, if anyone interested in going through the program, if you just Google eTMS Ohio, our website is the first thing that pops up. We have a portal on there that shows all of our data, information, studies, anything along the lines that if you do not believe anything I say, I don't blame you. I wouldn't have believed me either a couple years ago, but We can share all that information, and we have an access portal that you can put your name, your number, your information into our system, and someone will call you within that 24-hour time frame. This way, we can get in with you. If you are in crisis, I always recommend calling our phone number, and that is, I want to make sure I get this right.
And I'll put it in the show notes too. Don't if something happens where I'll make sure that because it sounds like this 911, if you will. It sounds like there's a better way to reach you if things are at a critical point. Go
Correct.
ahead.
Yes.
Go ahead.
If anything is critical, this will go directly to our phone line, or if you just want to go to your specific peer mentor for your region. Again, we are in Cincinnati, Dayton, Columbus, Cleveland, and New Lexington. You can call 614-665-7905, and we will be able to get with you right away.
Read that one more time, if you would, please.
Yep. 614-665-7905.
And I cannot tell you how thankful I am that your mom connected you and I for this so very important public service, really. And you've said multiple times, but I want to make sure I repeat it, and you correct me if I say anything wrong. This is free to the end user because it is a state-sponsored program. It is free to the end user. Health insurance, no health insurance, financial struggle, no financial struggle. It is free and funded by the state. That's accurate?
That is accurate. Yes, the only thing that I ask is for your time. And so if you can spare some time, we can get you treated.
Man, a lot to unpack there, my friend. There are going to be a ton of sound bites that come out of this that people are going to. I'm going to share this with every first responder. I love the fact that you guys included dispatchers in that. I'm going to share it with every veteran, and I'm going to continuously ask until people get tired of me asking to share this with someone. Everybody, I kind of feel like everybody knows from the first degree and immediate, they can name a person who's been a veteran. They can name a person that is either currently serving as a firefighter, paramedic, EMT, law enforcement, dispatcher. I am going to be relentless about sharing this right here. And I'm thankful that your approach to caring for those individuals appears to be pretty thorough, and it appears to be pretty relentless because you guys seem pretty determined to make an impact in people's lives that are already making an impact in our community. Thank you very much.
It's absolutely my pleasure. I know there's so many shout outs to give of my team, but just everyone on our
Take your time.
ETMS.
Go ahead and do it. Yeah, I
No,
want you
it's
to
just
give us your
no,
team,
but it's
please.
our entire eTMS team, from our technicians to the recruiters to the all the way up to our doctors. Everyone works tirelessly to make sure that we are getting everyone in and making sure that we provide the best care around. In every clinic, you're going to get fantastic treatment with our technicians, but also we try to partner with other therapies, such as like equine therapy with Finally Home Farms up in Xenia, Ohio, or Victory Through Sacrifice in Oakley, Ohio, or down in Cincinnati, in Vision MMA. We do a lot of great work with them. I just can't speak enough to everyone that wants to help and make sure that any conversation can save a life. So always taking it as serious as we can. And if anyone has any questions, comments, concerns, they can. Again, Greg, you can put my information on the post as well, and they can reach directly out to me. Plenty of people have my cell phone and information already, so I'm gladly to answer if they want to be anonymous. Again, just help and point them in any direction I can.
Man, so thankful for this connection right here. You and I will communicate in the future. I can
Absolutely.
guarantee that until you tell me to stop,
No, please.
because such a valuable service. If you want updates on this, follow To Lead YouTube page. Please click subscribe on that. Any updates that come out from this right here. Evan, there's so many more things I wanted to ask you. I'd love to have your permission to get you back on the show when you feel like you have some updates, because I read one of your bullet points and what does the future hold for accessible brain-based therapies? When there's breaking news, I know you got to go to the news first because they get it out to everybody. Promise me that you'll reach back to Tony or I, and we would love to have you back on to share more about this. And folks, if you want to, again, that's follow the number 2 lead Tony Miltenberger's YouTube page. Subscribe. That way you get updates if we post anything about this. Follow me on Facebook and share, share, share. We are so thankful of all of you that took the time to watch even a part of this right here. There has to be bits and pieces that I hope that I can craftfully share and cut out that will speak to somebody, that will cause them to get on your website, Evan, or to call your number, to make a difference in someone's life. Thank you so much for everybody here on our channel. Evan Beerck, very thankful for you. Keep charging, brother. Keep being passionate. I don't think I had to tell you that. I bet you that's going to happen already. But we're all better today after this 30-some minutes of listening to the information that you have. I feel better equipped, and you've equipped somebody else. So thank you very much. All right, brother?
I thank you so much for the time. I greatly appreciate it. And again, if this just leads to one person feeling better and reaching out, that this was an absolute success.
All right, hang on after we get offline here. Everybody, again, I want to repeat, follow to lead YouTube page, subscribe, check us out on Facebook. Everybody have a great day.